Okay. So let's go straight. Let's go straight. Okay, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Starting our today's workshop. This workshop is actually about many things, various statistical analysis, various statistical results, and various statistical type of data. But primarily, we'll be using today SPSS. SPSS, we understand, I believe most of you are familiar with this software. Just like Strata or SAS and Minitab, SPSS is one of the most common, one of the most famous software people use to run different type of analysis. So before we start, let me give you my brief introduction. I did that just 2 weeks ago, and I believe many of the participants probably today are from the same. If not, let me tell them a little bit about myself. My name is Dr. Kashif Farhat. I have a PhD in marketing from University of Tara, Malaysia. I just did that last year. My forte lies in marketing, and my forte also now lies in research. Professionally, I've been involved in many sales and marketing type of jobs, many sales and marketing type of tasks. Currently, academically and accidentally professionally, now I'm involved with Muhammad Ali Jinnah University in Pakistan, which is a private university, as a senior lecturer. Beside my PhD and beside teaching, I'm also actively involved in researching now. And as I've shown here on my slide, that if any of you would like to see my humble research profile, you may want to go to ResearchGate or Google Scholar and have a look at my research profile. While doing my PhD, I was, obviously I was just like any other PhD or master's student. I was also faced with various challenges in terms of methodology, in terms of setting methodology for my thesis. And as a result, I ended up investing a lot of time on my thesis, which the part of my thesis where I had to address the methodology, and perhaps this was the start of my my extended interest in methodology, and I began taking a lot of. I spent a lot of time understanding what methodology is, what type of different methodologies, so much and so on. So even though I'm far from even somebody who has mediocre knowledge, I believe that I'm still a beginner, but I believe that I should be able to contribute a lot to somebody who was just starting their research, or somebody who is still struggling with their quantitative methodology. So here we'll be focused in this workshop. We'll be focusing on the quantitative part of methodology and the quantitative research. So often postgraduate students are faced with the challenge of dealing with the statistics. Now, I tend to talk to a lot of students, especially the research student, and they have this one argument. Sort of, one reasoning they keep getting to themselves that, listen, I don't have a good, strong background of statistics. Well, most of us do not have it. I guarantee you on that. Most PhD students, whether they belong to business management or social sciences or economics, they do not have strong statistics knowledge or background. We all develop over the time. Somebody who already has studied advanced statistics, it really helps them, but that doesn't mean that somebody like me or somebody like you who has not taken advanced statistics or even basic statistics courses, so that means they would not be able to get their methodology right. But that's a sort of flawed concept. That's a crippling concept, and I would say just get rid of it today. Basic statistics are quite easy to understand, and once you have the knowledge of basic statistics, that's enough. That's enough. The rest softwares do But we need to understand that how these softwares work and what type of calculation is going on. So we need to follow the experts. And once you have the basic knowledge of a statistics, the rest just leave to this experts what they say and try to follow it. That's what I do, and I believe this is what most of us should be doing, because the idea is that if somebody is doing research in HR, in psychology, in marketing, in entrepreneurship, they want to be expert in their own domain. They don't want to be expert in methodology. So what they want to do, they want to have the substantial knowledge of methodology, and still they want to focus on their main domain, be this HR or entrepreneurship or any other business research or social sciences area. So especially when it comes down to research project and thesis, this is the time that we face, this is the time that we have to deal with methodology. While most master's students need rudimentary knowledge of statistics, however, for a PhD or doctorate student, it's a matter of championing the data analysis. Now, when I say championing the data analysis, what I'm saying is that whatever they're doing, that area, let's say somebody is doing quantitative, and within quantitative, they're doing primary, and within primary, they want to take the questionnaire approach, survey questionnaire approach. Then at least this area, they need to be very good. They need to understand what are the drawbacks, what are the pros and cons, what are the merits, what are the downsides, and what are the upsides of following this stream of research or this path of research. Specifically, quantitative research is dependent on conducting a statistical analysis of the data, whether you are doing statistical analysis based on sample or population. In any way, quantitative research means running a number of statistical analysis. So we need to know a lot, even at the basic level, we need to know a lot. And once you start conducting your own research, this basic level helps you a lot. This basic knowledge of statistics, or using statistics in your methodology for data analysis helps you a lot. And for that, today we'll be using SPSS, which is a basic software, which is a software, I always call it, it's a support software, but nonetheless extremely essential software. It's a powerful statistical package that allows you to run hundreds of statistical analysis, such as descriptive statistics, data distribution, data normality, data reliability, validity, likewise cluster, conjoint, t-statistics, ANOVA, MANOVA, MANCOVA, OLS regression, logit regression, partial regression, you name it, it's there. So I personally think, to the best of my understanding, there are hundreds of tests out there. There are hundreds of different types of data analysis or data tests we can conduct using SPSS. That doesn't mean that we need to know everything, but we need to know at least those type of statistics that that directly belong to our area, belong to the research we're conducting. So for this, SPSS is an absolute essential for postgraduate research students for various purposes, such as data cleaning, data exploration, and even basic and advanced statistical analysis. Now, we understand that over the year, people have started using advanced techniques such as structural equation modeling and multi-level modeling. And often you will find that even to run structural equation modeling or multi-level modeling, you still need software like SPSS or Strata, because there is always some type of data screening that I'm calling it data cleaning or data exploration, which is unfortunately so far not possible in most of the famous structural equation modeling software such as SmartPLS and AMOS. We can't really do much exploration. However, SPSS allows you to do a lot of exploration, and there's sky's the limit. As many as you can imagine, as many different type of options are available within SPSS. Okay, so what exactly? How does this SPSS work fits into any quantitative research. So we understand that any research, any academic research, any academic dissertation or thesis, such as PhD thesis or master's thesis, usually most commonly involves 5 chapters. Chapter one, introduction. Chapter 2, literature review, and chapter 3 is methodology. Chapter 4 is results, and chapter 5 is conclusion and discussion. Now, that means chapter 1, after chapter 1 and 2, we have to decide the methodology part. We have to decide what methodology we're going to use and how we are going to use. We have to decide all the specifics of that. And for that, it's very important that some methodology is extremely important. Within methodology, we actually we take care of the research design. Research design means we talk about the quantitative research. That means we have to have designed the whole plan that, listen, my research will be quantitative, and within quantitative, I'll be collecting cross-sectional data, and within cross-sectional, I'll be doing longitudinal sampling, or I'll be doing convenience sampling or purposive sampling, right? And my sampling method will be this, sampling technique will be this, and then my collection of data will be this kind of thing. And the data I'll be collecting from this respondent, and these are my respondent, and the data I'll be collecting through using this instrument such as questionnaire. So all these aspects actually are part of research design, and self-research design is part of methodology. So when we sit down in any research, when we sit down and we decide our methodology, we also have to decide. Often, it's recommended that before we finalize, before we give it a final touch to our research design, we decide what will be our methodology. And especially when it comes to analyzing the data, that means once you have collected your responses from, whether it's a population or it's a sample, once you have collected your data that you want to analyze for your research, for your thesis, it's extremely important that we need to know what type of analysis we need to have, and we need to apply for this. Because it may happen that and it's common. I know somebody who's just starting his research career, I would say, just starting their PhD or master research. It's often the case they end up with the type of instrument or type of data that they do not know, or there is no appropriate data analysis for the type of data they have collected. Which essentially means that before we go towards analyzing our data, the time we are deciding our instrument, the time we're planning our data, and how we will collect the data, who will we collect data from, what type of instrument we'll use. At the same time, we need to know what type of analysis we are going to run. Because if the analysis requires something, along with this data, and you don't collect that, you will not be able to run that analysis. Because if that analysis has certain type of assumption, and we'll be talking about that, some of those assumptions today for the regression, then we'll be stuck. We'll be stuck. We will not be able to, run the analysis as they're required to verify or to provide the validity and reliability of the data. So while we are deciding our methodology and all aspects of methodology, we also need to plan and decide what type of analysis we are going to run. So our methodology is aligned with our chapter number 4, which is the results. And in results, so our chapter number 4 and 3 are aligned. That means our data collection technique, our data collection method, and our analysis method are aligned. There is no disalignment. And as a result, when we present our results to our reviewer, present our results to examiner or supervisor, they have confidence in our research and data. Okay, so essentially what we do in methodology, basically methodology, what we do, once we're done with methodology, we go into chapter 4 with our data, and we start cleaning the data. And then we clean the data, and then we check the assumption of our data, whether the data meets the assumption of our data. And then we conduct those analyses such as regression or structural equation modeling, and then we report the results. And then eventually, in chapter 4, we determine if our hypotheses are accepted and rejected. And then when we go to chapter 5, we explain these results, and we explain that we provide the as highlighted in the box above. That means we will be focusing in these 4 or 5 areas. We'll try to figure out what do we mean by cleaning data. We'll try to figure out what do you mean by assumption. We'll try to figure out what do you mean by conducting data and reporting data analysis, reporting results, and then determining if our hypotheses are accepted or rejected. And the best part is just we will be using just SPSS for this, right? Okay, so let me go straight to our outline of the workshop. You will just get familiar, number 1, with the SPSS basics and layout. And that includes importing data and setting up the data. And then we'll start screening data. And then we'll be checking the descriptive analysis. We'll do the descriptive analysis. Then we'll run correlation. And then we'll check how to check the reliability. And then we'll check how to do a validity. And finally, we'll be doing multiple regression, stepwise regression, also called hierarchical regression. And then lastly, mediation and moderation we will be doing within SPSS. Okay, let's go straight. Getting familiar. Okay, so let's go straight now. Let me turn on my SPSS. Give me a second, guys. Okay, let's go first to data file. I believe that Dr. Mehdi has already shared with you the data file. Let me turn this data file. First open this data file, and then we'll open SPSS file, and I'll show you what do we need to do. Okay. Let me go straight first to SPSS. Okay, guys, allow me a minute or two. Let me turn both of these applications on. My laptop has many software on right now, so it's gonna slow down a little bit. Okay. Okay, allow me a second. Let's stop sharing. Okay, go here. Okay. I hope you guys can see this my sheet. Guys, Dr. Mehdi, can you see my sheet here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll every time I do something new, I'll have to verify that.
Sure. You can carry on.
Okay. So I have already shared with this Excel sheet with you guys, and if you realize what I've done here, I've given an ID to all of my responses. So each of this is my response here. My responses start from here. So responses number 1, response number 2, that means questioner, right? Now, another thing I've done is this, I have highlighted. So this is 1, let me highlight this. This is my 1, customer satisfaction. And I have 5 items here. So these are my original name of each item. Customer satisfaction is the name of my construct, 5 items. And this is we call coding. I've coded them with short, just CST 5, CST2, and CST3. Likewise, I've done with food quality. Okay. And I've done here with this, perceived value, and then ambience, and then responsiveness. Okay. So I guess you all understand what I'm doing here. So let me do this. Now notice what I've done here for gender. I've put 0 and 1. I've put 0 and 1. 1 is for male and 0 is for female. Okay, for age, I'll be showing you this on my SPSS. So what we understand is I have given 3 levels here. One is for somebody who's between, probably the youngest age, and then the next, and the third 3 is for the highest level of age. So here I've taken 3 level of ages, and obviously you can take more, but just for the sake of this, just to demonstrate to you here in this workshop, I have taken only 3 levels. That means whatever age data I've collected, and I'll show you what data exactly I've collected. Likewise, I've done for education, 3 levels of education. And so let's say somebody has a bachelor degree, so 1, somebody has a master's degree, and then they'll have 2, and I believe, let me show you control F1. Okay. Okay. So, and then for occupation, look here, I've taken 7 occupation here, and I've done it purposely. So there's some occupation, probably student is 1, and the other are 2, and the other one is 3. So now, number one thing, somebody, I was thinking to start from, at a level where this data is already there. Then I thought probably some of you are not familiar with SPSS, so I thought I would just start with somebody who's just completely new to SPSS, and I'll set up the SPSS in front of them, how to set up this data there, and then later on we'll move on to, I'll show you my final file. So allow me a minute, I'm turning my SPSS on. Okay, just give me a minute. Because I have many softwares open, so it's going to take a while before I turn it on. Okay. So let me stop sharing here. Let me go to my SPSS. Where is SPSS? Okay, right here. Okay. Now I believe that most of you can see my file here, which is SPSS. Now let me show you how SPSS works. This is what SPSS looks like, right? When you turn your SPSS on, you're gonna have when you turn your SPSS on, automatically it pops up with a dialog box. Just close that, don't worry about that dialog box at this stage, especially if you're not familiar with SPSS. So that's how you're gonna have 2 types of view. Number 1, data view, and here you can see all the data, and I'll show you how did that. The other one, you see the variable view, right? So let me first show you how to import, and then how to import the data, and then I'll show you, how we set this up here. Look, okay, so let me go here. Number 1, new file. I'm opening a new data file here, right? Okay, opening a new data file. And look, when I open a new data file, it has an empty variable view and an empty data view. Now what I'll do, okay, now I'll go here. Okay. Now I'll go here, and look what I'm doing here. I'll select my data from here to here. I'm just leaving. Even though I can directly import it, but then there are many steps to it, and I don't want to put you in trouble. So I'm just trying to show you it's the simplest method. So let me show you what I'm doing here. So I selected, I'm leaving out my demographics here. And then I Control Shift and arrow down key, and automatically it selected everything. Automatically selected everything, right? My questionnaire data. And remember, I left out. Now I'm doing copy. Okay. And then let's go back to my SPSS. Let's go back to my SPSS. Where's the new file? SPSS new file. Okay. Can you see this empty file, Dr. Mehdi?
Yeah.
Empty
I can
file. Empty file, right?
No,
Okay.
not empty, not empty.
Not empty. Okay.
No.
Okay. Let me see which one is empty. Okay. Wait. Wait. Okay, so now you see the data file. Okay, and now share the new file. Okay, now you see the new empty file, Dr. Mehdi?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay, don't worry. So let me share my whole screen so this problem is solved. Let me share my whole screen. Okay, I can't share my whole screen. Okay. So now you should be able to see my empty file.
Yes, right.
Okay. So look, I copy from there and I'll just simply paste it, Control Wave. Now look what happens here. When I paste it, okay. Can you see what is happening here? Can you see what is happening here? I have all the data here. I can do the same, but the problem here is that the name didn't come. I will still have to write those names. Okay, right? Okay, let's do another way. I can do the same. I can simply, let's close it. No. Okay. I can simply just go to SPSS, share, and I'll simply open it. Look, so I can do multiple ways. And I said data, and I said show me all files. This is the sample data, and I said open. And when I did that, and notice I didn't change the format of my file, anything. It's Excel sheet, Excel format. And this dialog came, don't do anything, just simply hit OK. OK. And do you see this now? Do you see this? What is happening here? I'm able to import most of my data as I wanted it, except for a few things I need to change. So here I see my whole data with the labels, and also the ID. All my data is here without much of an effort. Okay. Okay, so data view is here and variable view. Okay, so now I understand this is my data is, but I need to tell SPSS what my data is, what kind of data it is. For that, I'll go to variable view. So it has two views, data view and variable view. Data view is same as Excel sheet. However, variable view is different. Number one, this ID, I don't need this ID. So I'll clear it, and look, as soon as I clear it, this also disappeared. This also disappeared. Now I don't have anything. Okay, there's an extra one. I'll remove it, clear. Okay. So these are the names. These are the numeric. We just need to make sure that the data type is numeric here, variable type numeric always. These are my data, customer satisfaction 1, 2, 3, 4. These are my responses, all fine. If I make any change here, that will change, they'll change appear here. Let's say I make any change here. I say XYZ, for example, XYZ. Look, XYZ. Now this variable name is XYZ here. So
screen is not shared, sir.
It's still not shared. Okay. Is it shared now?
We can see.
You can see. Okay. So my apology. I will undo it so you can see. So we have, when I imported the data, now I'm sharing my whole screen, so you should be able to see everything what I'm doing. So Now, okay, so we have two ways, data view and variable view. And look, I just imported as it is. I just imported, if you remember, I just imported. And let me do it again in case you didn't see that. How did I import? So I went here and I said new, open, and data. And then I did this, all file, and Excel sheet, simple Excel format, XLS format. And when I did open, hello, what it does. It showed me this dialog, and I have to wait. It's still reading, and I don't do anything. Just click OK. As you click OK, now look, we have everything in front of it. Same, this view, data view here, is almost the same as my Excel view. No difference at all. So I want to see how much data is here. I can see everything here. All those things are here. However, SPSS has replicated data, but still I need to tell SPSS what type of data it is, what type of data it is. And because Excel doesn't have to do all those things that SPSS has to do. So with the same data, if I give a wrong information about this data, SPSS will be running different type of analysis according to the information I provided. So I need to provide further information to SPSS that the data I've imported, what are the types of this data, and what type of that information I need to give. Let's go to variable view. And if you look at the variable view here, you see a number of columns here, and we'll figure them out one by one. Number one, name here. So if I make any changes here, that change will appear here, right? Any change. So let's say I say XYZ. Now look, the name change here. I do anything here, that will change there. So this is the variable view and the data view. When we run the analysis, we remain here, but before we run the analysis, we need to make sure our data is set up the way SPSS understand the way statistics is done. Okay, so let's do Control Z. Number one, ID. I don't need this ID because this came from there, from Excel. Clear it, clear here, and clear this first row. Gone. I don't need this. Now ID is gone. I don't need this. Okay. Other problem is here that I see customer satisfaction is here, and I had given code. So this view is for me. This view is for the report. If I want to see the reports, the tables, and I want those reports and tables to be concise and readable, understandable. I need to put coding here. I need to put shorter name here. If I want to put the same as it is, I can put, but again, that will make the reports quite difficult to read. So just to make it simpler, what I'll do, customer satisfaction, same coding, CS1, CST1. Look, CST1, copy, and then I put all here. Okay. Copy, and then put here. I'm not able to paste it. Okay. CST2, CST3. This will allow us that when we'll be running our analysis and the reports, we'll be able to understand reports better because we'll have shorter name to understand. Now, back there, food quality was FQ1. Simply FQ1 copy. Select all of them, paste. 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Please allow me. It's a little tedious work that needs to be done to make you understand, even though I have another sheet ready to show you. So let's say this is P perceived value 1. Copy, paste. This is 2. This is 3. This is 4. This is 5. Now we have ambience A and B back there are back on the Excel sheet. Our code was A and B2, A and B3, A and B4, and then A and B5. Okay. And then responsiveness. Last one, RSP1. Simply copy, and then until here. Paste, RSP2, RSP3, RSP4. Okay. Now we're almost done. Just couple of things we need to do. Number one, for gender, we need to give them those numbers if you remember. If you remember, right? So for example, for gender, we had only 2, and so gender remains gender, age remains age, education remains education, and occupation remains occupation. Okay. Okay. I'm not saving this file because I already have saved this file. So I just want to show you how did I set that up. Now we're done with the name decimal. As of now, we don't need to check decimal. At least at this stage, we don't need any change in decimal. We can keep it to 0. Labels for our reporting, these labels will appear. It's just the same like we do in Amos and Smart PLS. There are 2 view. One is for the report, one is for the model. Okay, so this is for the data that we'll see, and this is for the reporting. Okay, now this is very important for SPSS. We need to check we need to tell SPSS what type of data it is. If you remember, we have taken data on Likert scale. I show you on Likert scale. So we need to tell SPSS that our data is on Likert scale. So we know that on mostly people use 1 for strongly disagree. Okay, I'm sure I'm hoping that I am visible to all of you. My screen is visible to all of you.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay. So that doesn't mean that you can only do Likert scale. Any Likert type scale you can do. Any Likert type scale you can do. So that could have any level, 5 level, 7 level, 9 level, 11 level, whatever number of levels you have, you can do it. And then strongly agree. Look, I did a spell check here. It says no problem with and then